going? How you guys? Damn, we're already past August. Where did August go? Seems like the months are shorter the closer you get to the end of the year. And I think it has a lot to do with people's plans and ideas, believing that this year will be different than the rest in the beginning. But by the end, you recognize that it won't. For most of us, it's not different. It just goes by much faster because we're getting older. We had these resolutions set thinking we're going to accomplish them, but we won't. But none of that stuff matters anyway, at least at the moment. Do you know why? We have arrived at the time of the lovers, the creatives, the selfless and hopeless romantics. It's Virgo season. Hello, beautiful people. My name is Max Erin James, Erin spelled E-R-I-N. Welcome to my channel where I make videos about things that may not necessarily matter to you, but matter enough to me to make a video about it. I went a good at least 10-15 minutes not recording, getting everything ready, which is not much. And the fridge didn't want to make any noise earlier. Honestly, I think this is just a video diary for my future self and future friends, and family, to watch and cringe over. Also, that Virgo season stuff, I'm not really into that. I just said it because my birthday's in September. Also, if I start looking a little glistening and shiny, it's because I turned off my AC and I didn't want it to be picked up on the camera, so it's gonna get pretty warm in here. There are a few things that I've learned while living in Dallas for the month plus a couple weeks that I've lived in Dallas. First, from my experience so far, the drivers here are not that bad. Traffic is traffic as expected in a city, but I haven't seen a lot of stupid drivers. The only times that I've seen a bad driver or drivers has been at the same time of day. Early in the morning, on my way to work, the same intersection. The first time someone was in front of me and they didn't even wait for the light to turn red. They didn't even wait for the lights of like the crossing streets to turn red. They looked both ways and just drove forward, and the car next to us went forward when the green arrow to turn left came on. They must have thought it was our green, so they went forward and just drove off. The very next day, someone in front of me waited for the side lights to turn red, but the one for us didn't turn green yet, and they just sped off. Like, they didn't even stop. They just zoomed off. They went into the same place where I was working at, where I am working. Aside from that, drivers here haven't been that bad. Traffic is traffic, but I haven't seen, aside from that, traffic hasn't been that bad. I've seen, people make mistakes, but it hasn't been horrible. Like the 2 months I was in Virginia was probably the second worst traffic I've ever experienced. First being in Okinawa, Japan. I'm sure the longer I'm here, I'll get the occasional, bad driver, someone who's in a rush and wants to just honk at me for whatever reason. But that's a given, I think, and especially in largely populated areas. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, I'm sure you can tell. I'm not in the same place anymore. I'm actually sitting on the floor. I have very little furniture, moved into my own apartment in the dangerous streets of Dallas, or near downtown Dallas. I'm kidding, it's not dangerous. It's just small. And this place is... Another thing I've learned living here in lovely Dallas is that Asians in the Asian and Latin community really like to use the N-word a lot. I don't know what else there is to say to that. I mean, I know it happens in other parts of the country, but where I grew up and how I grew up, it's like, it was already one thing about my black side of the family wasn't even, allowed to say it when we were growing up, my cousins and I. And so we didn't even see anyone who was not black say it. And now, I've met people that have told me that it was just the regular thing in California, and now here in Dallas, I don't think I've heard a single person that was black say it here. And I've heard it at least 100 times. With that being said, Dallas and the surrounding areas, the surrounding cities or towns, are much more diverse than you would expect, or at least than I would expect. However, it is just as white as you would think. Also, the kinds of areas that you would be told to avoid or that are nice are spread out. It's not one area is bad, one area is good. There are bad people in certain areas. People will say avoid a certain area, a certain road specifically. But then as I go further down the road, I see pretty nice houses and the people are relatively nice. And other places where they say it's pretty good, I go down there and it's like people look at me like I disgust them. While writing this script, that's pretty much all I could think of at the moment. I'm sure I'll learn a lot more. I'm sure I will experience a lot more. There are very few places that I remember off the top of my head in regards to like areas in Dallas. I remember Deep Ellum and my friends live, I don't even remember the town they live in. I think it's like separate. I think it's like it's not really an area like Deep Ellum is. Plano's up north about 13 to 15 minutes away. You have places like Addison, Forney, Rowlett. We live in a society. I'm not saying that. We're social beings and we live in communities. And so if you do not feel like being cordial or friendly or want to go outside in a mood that avoids any interaction with people, just stay indoors and don't go outside. Otherwise, be nice to people. Until next time.